Good evening, everyone. Welcome here at the Innovation Café. Hi to everybody watching online. For everybody here, thanks for making it through the rain after the sunny days. For those of you who haven't been here before, we are a weekly networking event where we offer presentations on the subjects of design and/or technology. And today we have Zsofia Kollar here, who will tell us more about her human material loop, the project, and with suggestions how we can make clothing from human waste materials, mostly hair. So enjoy the presentations. Afterwards, we'll have the opportunity to have drinks and also the opportunity for dinner. But first, enjoy the presentation.
Welcome, everybody. Small group, but it's not the quantity, but the quality that matters, right? So, first of all, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a hair salon before? And what do you think about what I'm wearing now? Do you have any opinion? Do you know how your clothing are made? What's the material? And then what do you think, what's the connection between a hair salon and my clothing? Hair? Yeah, so this is made out of the waste hair from hair salons from Amsterdam. And then I will tell you how an idea that already I had in my studies sparked into a startup and eventually a revolution, because it's not just about a company and an innovation and a new technology that we are developing, but also creating a real revolution for humanity to position ourselves back to the ecosystem. And I was always quite fascinated about hair, and if you really think about hair, it has so much meaning, so it represents so much. Like, for example, I don't know if you are familiar with Beatrix. Her hairstyle was designed by a French hairdresser, but for decades it represented the strengths of the Dutch economy. Wherever she went, traveled, everybody was like, well, Beatrix's hairstyle is just so strong, it's almost like a helmet. It's really like the Dutch economy, it's so strong. But also our hairdo is really representing our identity, how we want to be seen by others, and how you want to stick out to be seen by others. And then this is something that you can so quickly change, cut, let it grow. Or hair also can represent your mental health. Just think about when Britney shaved her hair. Everybody knew that her mental state was not okay. And then when people asked her, why did you shave your hair? She just said, like, well, I'm sick of people touching my hair. And that so often also, we tend to touch other people's hair, and that's sometimes so intimate, but sometimes it's also so inappropriate. So how does it feel to get a haircut? It feels good, right? It's empowering, you leave the salon good. It changes you. You just have a good day in the hairdresser. And when I went to a salon and talked to a few hairdressers, they said, like, well, I'm not only a hairdresser, but I'm also actually a magician and a therapist, because when you're sitting in the chair, you are really sharing your difficulties in life. You are just there to relax. And a hairdresser ultimately also transforms you to a more beautiful, more empowering self of yourself. So a good hair day is empowering, right? Because you just feel good after. But what happens to all that hair after we leave the salon? Did you ever wonder that? Did you ever notice how much hair actually swept to the bin? Did you ever thought about that? What happens when you leave the salon? What happens to all that hair? It's incinerated. In Europe, it's mostly incinerated. And with the current energy prices, well, it's a lot of waste, because it's not just energy intensive, it's also very polluting and also costs money. And if we look at it, we humans, we already altered 70% of Earth's land. But what are we actually giving back to this ecosystem? Pretty much nothing, we just take. But we do have a choice what we do next, and how we do business, how we innovate, and how we use the materials. We are living in a material world. We cannot deny that, but we can make sure that the materials we are using are circular. And if you look at it, every day, almost 1 kilogram of trash is dumped by us. And looking at the population, which has already reached 8 billion people, that's a lot of waste. And since we are producing so much from plastic and fossil fuels, those are sticking around on this planet for a couple of few hundred years. And just imagine all these volumes, just adding. In my opinion, trash is just raw material in the wrong place. And that's how we should look at it. There is nothing wasteful. Because we humans are the only species on this planet that waste. Nature does not waste anything. Only we humans do. And that's inherently wrong. We should not think like that, should not behave like that. So, the solution, did you ever think about like how you can be part of the solution? We are talking so much about climate crisis, disasters, we are past through the day when we can go back. But actually, we humans, we can be the solutions to the problems we have created. At least be part of the solution. Even scientists, they don't know the answer scientifically why we have such a long hair concentrated on top of our hair, because evolutionary reasons, we don't need this long hair. We do need hair to protect our most important organ, our brain, from cold and heat, but we don't need this long hair. There is no scientific reason why we have this long hair. Maybe because we need to do something with this. Maybe there is a reason we just haven't discovered yet why we have this long hair, or the ability to grow this long hair. I was in my studio for during lockdown, and then I was always very much fascinated by hair. What could we do? And the more I researched, I figured out so much about our ecosystem, our manufacturing processes, and that the textile industry is the second most polluting industry. Maybe you are not aware of. Maybe you think, oh, I'm living in the Netherlands, I'm not contributing to the pollution that's happening in India or China. But actually you do contribute to that, because you buy those things. So it also started by going to hairdressers, just talk to them, see how much waste actually they are producing. It's an insane amount of waste. And when the first time I walked into one of the oldest hair salons in Amsterdam, they told me, like, oh my God, we've been waiting for somebody to come and do something with our waste, because you can't imagine in the past 20 years how much hair waste we put on the street. There must be something that people can do with it. So that's when Human Material Loop was born, from a desk research and from a research from hair salons. Because I truly believe that the problem we are facing now is caused by our arrogance, that we think that we are above this ecosystem. We think that everything around us, we are above it. Why we should be part of this. Honestly, the planet will survive without us. The planet does not need humans. We do need the planet. So it's not about saving the planet, it's about saving humanity. I have a little quiz, so we can now see how much you know about human hair. So if you take your phone and scan the code, well, somebody already. So the oldest found hair in history. How do you think, how long a single piece of hair can survive on this planet in air temperature? And if you press enter for the answer, well, it's most of you got it right. 82% of you got it right. So it's a 9,000-year-old mummy from Chile. Can you just imagine that the material can last that long? Can you imagine that we could make clothing, textiles, carpets, upholstery that can last that long? Does not degrade, extremely strong. It could be 9,000-year-old blazer. This could survive. That will be a long time humans gone from this planet, but on air temperature, hair could survive. There are also, maybe you found it that, oh, hair, why are we using hair in production, in materials? But actually it did happen. So these women in the village cut all their hair because they didn't have enough material to pull up the wooden beams to rebuild the temple. I already thought the answer too. But how beautiful is that people in that small town, they realize that actually we can make this happen. We can pull up the beams by cutting our hair. And all the women in the village cut their hair to rebuild the temple. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with the Victorian era, but it was quite popular to use hair in jewelry. And maybe it was to remember the dead loved ones, or to express love to each other, or just for pure decoration, because hair is beautiful. Yeah. So it was quite common that, especially if people went to the war or diseases, sicknesses, that you just cut a piece of hair from your loved one, because you could keep that hair forever. And you could always have that loved one with you. But also, human hair was used in many different ways, still being used. So what do you think that human hair was processed into hair strengthening treatment in the cosmetic industry? Or into pigments? Or processed into amino acids to make soya sauce? Well, it was produced to make soya sauce. But also, that was not the only way that they used in the food industry. Maybe some of you still remember those headlines from the Dutch newspapers when Albert Heijn was revealed that they were using hair in their bread. But also, socks, shoes, back in the days, it was quite common to use your own hair, your own material, the materials that were available around you. And if we think about how everything changed by the Industrial Revolution, not just that technically we advanced, but also we forgot to use materials that are available around us. And when plastic came and it became so cheap, we forgot all our natural resources. And look at us now, 50 years after the plastic revolution, we are drowning in it. So is this true? Was human hair used in surgery before? Or maybe still now? Well, you got it right. Because also hair has such a great quality of removing all bacteria, and it's an antibacterial material. So, how was hair used? To feed animals? Keep wild animals away? Or catch animals with? Well, actually it was to keep the animals away. It's a very old practice. Now it's picking up in France to use again, because there are a lot of wild boars and wild animals destroying the farms. So they put bags and bags of hair as a fence. And animals did not go destroy the cabbage fields, the farms anymore. Because when hair is breaking down in soil, it releases a certain smell that the animals are drawn back. But also just imagine the possibility of using hair along highways. There will be no more deers jumping on the highway. There will be no more accidents. A natural waste resource that we should just use. And then in other cultures, hair has been still used in clothing. What do you think? When was this tunic made? around the 1200s, 1700s, or the 1900s? You think it's an old piece, huh? Well, it's more recent than you think. But also, hair can be used in so many different applications and has been used and still being used. Yeah, so the Mongolians used the thermal property of hair, because hair actually been engineered to protect from heat and cold. So why not use it in the walls of your tents? So it was used to insulate the tent. This is another beautiful story. In the South African tribes in Zulu, the bride is wearing a hat made of maybe her own hair, maybe her mother's hair, or maybe the groom's hair. And most of you are getting it right. It's really made from the mother's hair, but it's just such a beautiful transition when you are let go from the family. Your mother gives her hair to wish you strength and luck and happiness with your husband. So you can see there are ways that hair has been already used. It's not an idea that I invented. Hair has been used and utilized in various ways during history. But my perspective on using hair is to cut the pollution of the textile industry, because it just releases so much carbon dioxide, the whole industry. It's the second most polluting industry. Also, the chemicals being used in the industry are responsible for 20% of wastewater globally. Just from one industry, 20%. Microplastics, the oils being used, the synthetic fibers. And you might not be aware, but you have now 77% chance that you have plastics in your blood right now, coming from textiles. And if you don't even care about the chemicals that are going around in the world, you might care about animals. And also, animals emit a lot of methane, which is even worse than carbon dioxide. And all this pollution, all this cruelty, just so we can dump 91 million tons of textiles yearly. So we are here to change that. We are developing technologies, materials, and products to utilize hair waste. Because hair actually is the same keratin protein fiber as wool. So with that logic, is our hair actually wool? Yeah, right? We just call it different. And also, if you look at it, it takes 1 year to shear a sheep, to feed, to take care of it, just to raise these animals for our comfort and economic good. While our hair grows 10 to 15 centimeters a year, and we have almost 8 billion people on this planet. Can you just imagine how we could replace certain industries, manufacturing processes by using our own hair waste? Just in Europe, it's 72 million kilograms of hair waste that we are generating, just in Europe every year. This is the amount of 8 Eiffel Towers if we have to put it into weight. Just insane, and we just burn this. And look at the whole chain, how we could change this. Hopefully we will still get people in the future on this planet. And we all go to a hair salon every now and then. And what if that waste can be collected, processed by us, and eventually ending up with consumers instead of incineration? So you can see a few prototypes we have developed. It's not just extremely warm, it's extremely sustainable, because to make these sweaters, we needed no land, no pesticides, polluted no water, 100% natural. And we just collected the material from the hair salons in like very, very short distances. or the blazer I'm wearing. And you can also color hair to any colors. It's the same process as the industry itself. After the yarn, we can weave it, knit it to anything, have it in any color. And then also, since it's been known that hair has a good thermal property, we also made a prototype that my co-founder went to 7,000 meters high up in minus 40 degrees to test one of our prototypes. So these jackets and pants are filled with hair to protect him in one of the harshest environments on this planet. And he's an experienced climber. So he has been using the best of the best gears throughout his expeditions. And he said, like, I never had such a good gear. I did not sweat, kept me warm, and caused no harm to this planet to fill these jackets up. Can you believe? And it's just 100% natural fiber, no microplastics, no chemicals. And if you compare the sheep on the wool industry and the hair industry, can you just see how much emissions we can cut off and how much money we can save just by using hair? Because until a certain point, the procedure is quite different, but after at some point, we have the processed hair. It's the same, the exact same process that we can process hair into textiles. But we just cut all that other parts out. We are working together with scientists and engineers in one of the most amazing places in the Netherlands, in Brightlands Camelot campus, to really scale up this innovation, to bring it to global scale. We are developing a plug-in technology so we can just tackle into every factory in the world to utilize local waste. Because we very much believe that we should not degrade any soil for the textile production. And we also don't want more plastics in anybody's blood. And animals, we believe, are also our friends. Leave them alone. And the textile industry is not just polluting, toxic, but it's also exploitative. How we could cut off, how we could diminish forced child labor from the industry. Just imagine. You have nobody wants, the problem in today's world to change, it's that nobody wants to put extra money on making anything different. So imagine that the money that now it goes into cultivating cotton or other materials or wool can be cut off, and that money can be put into paying higher wages for the parents so the kids are not forced to work anymore. Or maybe that money that now put into the cultivation of those crops can be put into to build schools or facilities for these children. Because it would still cost the factories the same amount of money, but it would make a difference how you relocate your finances. And yeah, we really just want to cut off the emissions. And stop poisoning each other, because actually that's what we are really doing. We're poisoning. And manufacture responsibly. Because water also should be toxic free. And because trash is just raw material in the wrong place. So our mission is to create the biggest impact in the shortest time possible, with no compromises. If you are curious how our journey was, so from an idea to research, to prototypes, to the business case, to partners, to building a team involving research institutes, that's where we are going. And if you look at the industry now, even Patagonia, who is one of the pioneers in sustainable practices, they even said that we haven't really figured out how to make a jacket in a way that gives back to the planet. Well, we did. So please join the biggest revolution of humankind. Because finally we can be the solution for the problems we have created. All on top of our head. The solution is sometimes really just so much closer than we think. Because from this, we can make this. Thank you. Yeah?
Thank you for this very nice and beautiful presentation. I own hairs. Is there any material, any difference in the properties? Let's say insulating value or souplesse?
The difference is the surface and the diameter of hair between the sheep wool and hair. So our technology is based on increasing the friction between the fibers. And of course, the cleaning process. So many times people forget that that fluffy sweater you might be wearing is not how the wool is produced. So first it goes into a very intensive production, 26 steps to be precise, to wash away the feces, the blood, the pee, the dirt that 1 year gathered in that wool.
Absolutely. You're saying that the insulating value that you can reach, making something by hair, making something by wool, is really comparable.
It's the same, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can also dye it in the same way. There's no really problem at all. You can just treat it exactly as wool.
Yeah. So it's a protein fiber, so proteins are quite easy to color. And then also, I think what's often lacking from innovation perspective, that how you can bring different industries together. So we should not forget that the cosmetic industry develops such a sustainable and healthy processes to color our own hair. So we can take the knowledge from them and apply it in a different industry. Yeah.
Did you produce the clothes yourself, or find some company to produce the blazer and the sweaters?
We are doing the in-house processing for the fibers, but then it goes into a spinning mill, weaving mill, and then a designer makes a garment.
And is it for sale yet somewhere?
We are not on the market yet. You can already order some custom products.
Not confession, or what it's called, not standard.
No, not yet. And then we don't want to become a consumer brand, but we really want to enable the industry to use a material that has zero negative impact on the environment. So we are also just want to produce materials for brands and designers to work with us.
Can you tell us a bit more indeed where you are right now? Because I know last year you were also part of the Dutch Design Awards. What has happened? Did it help you also? Are you well connected to industry, or are there still things you really need to movement?
We are progressing. So now we are working on 3 different technologies. So the stable fiber yarn development, the thermal insulating filler, so replacing down and polyester fillers, but also the polymerization of keratin into filament yarns. So that would also enable us to develop materials that can replace basically almost anything. And we are going ahead. So it's not going to happen overnight, but we are going steadily and moving forward with.
And you work with Camelot then?
Yeah.
Yes, so that's when you talk about we, it's Camelot.
So I don't know how much you know about Camelot in general. It's a chemical research facility that they are also having a lot of independent companies in their center, and then because they have the knowledge, the accessible lab, so we could also rent a lab there with amazing equipment, amazing talents to help us to scale up much faster.
Interesting, nice also that you're there.
Yeah.
So going on about that, because this is about the production side, but do you also know that more and more hairdressers, because you also need a source, of course, for the hair, we also see that more and more hairdressers are participating to deliver more and more hair?
Yeah, so we have.
Would be like that 100% of the barbers, hairdressers would.
Yeah, so we are working with an external partner to utilize or collect the waste streams from hair salons. So they are not only collecting the waste streams of hair, but also the aluminum foil, the plastic. So salons can become completely zero waste. And then, of course, there are already recycling companies for aluminum, for plastic, but there is currently no efficient technology out there that can utilize hair waste. So that's what we are receiving from the partners. And hair salons are also, you might think that one hair salon will not contribute much, but there are 30,000 hair salons in this country.
Yeah, a lot. I think still more and more.
Exactly. So we have more and more salons signing up and collecting. So
Just to be curious, do you at the moment have a surplus on hair, or do you have shortage on hair?
we have a lot more hair than we can utilize at the moment.
Okay, that's a good thing on the source side.
And then also hair does not get obsolete. So also if you look at different biomasses, the problem if you have very much of cellulose waste, it gets obsolete very quick.
Yeah, but hair doesn't. Like you showed us.
Yeah, we could store it for 9,000 years.
Is there a different way of processing the hair, of like curly hair or sleek hair or different colors, or maybe hair from different cultures? The different.
We are now, for the staple fiber yarns, we are more using European hair or Asian hair, just because also there is not that much hair available for our own research or utilizing them, because we need at least 300 kilo to start the production from African hair, for example. But it's just a small alteration in the technology.
I just have a question. The thing is, for example, if I would like to have a sweater of my own and I would like to use my own hair, I don't think I produce enough hair in a year to make a sweater of my own. So yeah, I'm just seeing it from that perspective of like becoming self-sufficient.
Or maybe then you don't buy a sweater every year, but every 5 years.
Yeah. Patience, things go slower.
And it's very durable, so your clothes will go.
But the thing is, it is indeed durable. But the thing is, when I look at the industry itself, the thing is, we are as in like how it was in the past to how it is now. So we want more new things. We want more new experiences. So that's why we see like items or like products becoming obsolete really fast.
Yeah.
So in that sense, this is also something which I see as a society that we have to change. But then that's not the topic here. So I was just thinking about like, seeing from those lenses.
I mean, it also depends. Like I also collect my hair from my hairbrush, and then I have a little bit longer hair than you. So if you just let it grow long and then you just collect it from your brush, you don't even have to cut your hair, but you will have quite an sufficient amount to use. Or you could also make a nice family ones, maybe with your partner, with your parents.
But is the cleaning of the hair similar to what you do with wool? Or?
Yes, so we do have a cleaning process, but it's just way less than for wool, because we don't have to do such a harsh chemicals to clean all those materials away. And also we humans are one of the cleanest animals. I don't know how many times you wash your hair, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot more than a sheep.
But also because a lot of people color their hair with
Yeah, I
also
was thinking
chemicals.
about that as well.
Can you use the hair that is colored with
Yeah.
chemicals?
Doesn't
So you
matter.
No.
can flush away the chemicals and
And it's also quite a misconception that people think, oh, we have so much toxics in our hair and dyeing. But actually, those are quite natural processes when you dye your hair.
Yeah.
It's not like you have lead or chrome like in leather. So you. Yeah.
Are there any legal challenges? You're collecting.
Legally, the matter that you leave behind as a waste, it belongs to the first one who takes it. So if you would be like going in a hair salon and then you learn later, like, oh, my hair turned into a carpet, it's not okay. You wouldn't stand a legal base, because once you leave it there, it belongs to the first one who takes it.
Yeah, but now we leave it there because we think it's being thrown away and not used for produce. So
I mean, if you are free to take your hair in the future, if people decide to.
Because there are legal challenges.
And then also hair does not have any DNA, so that's also one of the things that people think that, oh, but you can like cut off this blazer and then you can find this and this person in it. And actually, cut off hair does not have nuclear DNA, because to identify an individual, you need to have the follicles with the skin attached to the hair. The most you could tell from this hair, the vitamins, the diet, You couldn't even tell if it's a female or male because in structure hair is identical.
Was it your dream always to kind of really dive into this method, or?
I was always very much fascinated by hair, but more from a conceptual point of view, because we do so much about our own hair. We spend so much time, money. It means so much in different cultures. It represents your political views, your marital status, your rebellious behavior. But then we never really treat it as a material. And then because once it's cut, it's just so neglected. And then I had my own design studio before, and then in the pandemic it really shifted because I was like, what kind of designer actually I want to become, want to be? I don't just want to design things that are appealing or just stand somewhere. I really want to create a system where we can make things better, because design is not just about making things pretty, but creating solutions. Solutions that everybody has access to and the right to use, and not about producing things for galleries or for the elite that they can showcase to their friends, but really to create solutions. To me, that's design. And I think in the pandemic, it really made it clear to me that I don't want to just design for the sake of designing, but I really want to create solutions. And the more I researched, it was just ticked together that, wow, hair is like wool. Textile industry is so polluting. We have so much waste. It just came all together.
And the dyes that,
No worries.
I mean the dyes that we use for creating these products with hair, would they be the pollutants in the future, or are there any sustainable dyes that we could use for coloring the keratin fibers that we collect from the hair?
Yeah, so we developed a very green chemical process for the coloring. So from the very beginning, it was the major focus on that we don't compromise on the technology. That if it's not sustainable, then we don't even go that road.
And do you think that would also be applicable to the textile industry that is that is currently polluting right now? So if they would adopt these sustainable dyes, can they become sustainable?
Yeah, so definitely with the protein fibers, it will be something that can be combined. So dyeing cellulose or protein-based fibers, it's quite different.
Okay.
So we might can share knowledge to other fibers and other materials, but for protein for sure.
What about the economics? When the yarn is being sold from hair and the yarn is used like cotton or say polyethylene or polystyrene?
We will never be able to compete with polyester prices because it's just so cheap. So that's just a myth that we can just go cheaper and cheaper. And I think the whole worldview also needs to change that what is cheap, somebody's paying for that.
Okay.
So many times people ask what will be the cost of this blazer? And it's not about the price of it, so it's about the value of it. So imagine just you would buy something that can last for the next 5 generations. Polluted no lands, degraded no soil, no water be intoxicated. It will not release microplastics to your children's lung. What price would you put on the health of the next generation?
Yeah, when
because currently there is also recycling of plastics into the yarn. That is why you get the stretchable clothes and things which comes out of that kind of technology. So it's already in a big recycle process, the plastic. It's already going into a recycling process rather than coming new.
Actually, recycled polyester releases even more microplastics than virgin polyester. And once you recycle plastic bottles, for example, to textile, it's end of life. You cannot recycle again. So you are just killing the whole circle. So plastic bottles should become plastic bottles again. But the recycling of plastics are still not that efficient if you look at the health concerns about it and then how much plastic they are releasing. So many people believe but we are doing so well because we can recycle plastics now and polyester. It's a myth. Just look at the data on releasing microplastics. We don't even know what are the health concerns regarding that, because it was just 2 years ago that we figured out that plastics are in our blood. And if you look at the graph of the production of plastics, and for example, infertility, it's very parallel. So just imagine what it will cause to the future, and also the graph with plastic production and Alzheimer. That's also very parallel.
Yeah, you should have the true price in the end. That's what they say. We should really also, what is the true price? You know, what is the impact on the earth and the planet and on our health? And then try to come, and then you will take, it's not expensive at all. It's really, we should really just do this. So we really need to change that system of valorizing also.
Because also, I think it's just so wrong that a T-shirt costs less than your dinner.
Yeah.
I think we should, sorry to interrupt, but I think we're continuing, it's a good way to continue into the conversation and to invite everyone for drinks. Because I would just want to thank you for your presentation, offer everyone the opportunity to go and get something to drink. And on this activistic note, I think it's good to at least stop the presentation here. But thank you so much. It's very inspiring, and I mean, I also really believe that we should head to a world where these things are valued a lot more. And it's really so interesting what you're doing. So for all of you, I welcome you all to have a drink at the bar, continue talking about this and all of the opportunities it can offer. Afterwards, we'll also have the opportunity for the meetup table, which is a meal for everyone who comes to the Innovation Café. I will have to check what the meal is, but I'll come and ask you later if you're interested in staying. And for next week, we have Lenneke Kuijer here, who's done research on how to keep cool during the summer, sort of innovative ways to keep your houses and your clothing cool. So feel free to come to that and to take some people along. And we're here every Thursday, except Koningsdag for this year, which is on a Thursday. So check out the website for the upcoming program. But for now, have a lovely evening. Lots of the conversation going, so feel free to continue.
Hey, you're still here. So you like the video. If you want, subscribe and click the bell.